question, actually. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you were saying
I was just following along, thinking it through. I would love to do it, but then at the same time, not having their voice here also kind of, as you know, has been displayed in the chat on many occasions.
I would
How
say
do you go about that? Yeah,
they were given ample opportunity if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And if
fair
they
enough.
would like to manipulate what we've done, they can tell us and we can visit it.
Fair enough as well.
How do you guys feel?
I'm just here
trying to be honest, I am a bit limited as well because my power just went out and I am on my mobile. So I just realized that you can do this on mobile. I downloaded the Miro app, but it's kind of...
It is difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah, it is.
I would say that most of this is
in the chat. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you can type in the chat, and then also I would say that most of what we're doing is going to be auditory rather than working in here. So as long as you can kind of see what's going on or follow along, I think it's good.
Great.
So,
right,
Alex, will you be doing most of the moderation and kind of synthesizing different statements? Yeah? And we can just complain about what you're doing?
No, absolutely not. You guys still have to do the work. So that's what facilitating means. Is I don't have to. I'm just kidding. Group effort. So I guess what we're going to do is essentially we're going to group these things into kind of categorical ideas, and then also either agree or disagree on what's here. Right. So I shouldn't take too long, and I don't think we need a timer for this. So if we could go ahead and start like kind of grouping the who we are, because we all like wrote down what we think, right? And so I assume there's some overlap. And so it looks like we have some like what people do and kind of descriptors about them, right?
I think it's going to be hard if we're all trying to move things around at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that that's totally fine, and that's the friction that you were asking for, Stella.
Oh. You don't always have to take me by the word, you know? So
it's okay. No, this is the part where the sort of consensus comes together, because then we either disagree or don't agree, and then we can talk about it.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap right here, right?
There's not a lot to choose from either, right? So.
On the upper left, I don't know if you can tell what I'm selecting. No one can tell.
I can if you've clicked on it and look like you're editing it. I can also see your cursor.
Okay, so this cluster, essentially, up here, is creators, developers, builders, enthusiasts, right? Wait, who did that? Type something.
Sorry, that was me.
And creators, developers, and curators, artists, developers, builders, communities, builders, devs, event hosts, artists, on-chain enthusiasts. So there's a lot of that in here in this cluster. The question is if we can make one out of this.
I mean, I'm going to start typing and see. I mean, we could all take our stab at it, but...
No, you take one.
So I'm going to say a community of creators, developers...
Creators, developers, builders, enthusiasts, and holders, potentially.
Okay, so
I mean, doesn't creators and developers aren't both of those also builders? Like, is there a group of builders who is not encompassed inside creators and developers? That's
yes. See, so community of builders. I guess one of the questions is, do we care and or support holders? I know we talk about it and how it's important. Do we consider the DAO to be that, to be holders? I can see arguments for both.
I personally don't, but I always hear it ringing in the back of my mind that, you know, Julian told me this is an ecosystem and you cannot just ignore one stakeholder group. So, you know, this is why I also put it later on in there, not because I think that should be a majority objective of any kind, but it is a stakeholder group in the ecosystem.
Well, I personally think holders are important because, you know, they actually help keep things stable. Because at the end of the day, if the community, the DAO is made of token holders, and they are an important member of the community, and they do help keep things stable. Some people need to hold. I think if you look at every stable ecosystem, it's the holders that's keeping it really stable. Bitcoin, ETH, it's the holders, which are the stakers, and they're staking because they're holding. They're not looking to sell. So
Danny,
whatever.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Do you identify yourself, sorry, making this so official, do you identify yourself as primarily in the Unlock ecosystem as a developer, as a DAO member, or as a UDT holder? If you had to give yourself one label, which label would you prioritize?
Developer.
Right, I figured. So this is the main difference, right? Also between us and the trading group. Not that those people are bad people, right? But their priorities are different. So they see themselves mainly or only as UDT holders, while all of us, I think Lana mentioned this before, right? All of us are UDT holders that we're like right here, right now, but this is not how we identify ourselves primarily in this ecosystem.
True. I see it.
Also, the largest token holder is still Unlock Labs. I think they have like 95%.
Yeah, they're super whales.
Yeah.
Wait,
so I think
what's in the treasury though, right?
No, that's different. So the treasury is the treasury is essentially what happened was when Unlock Labs was first forming, they distributed tokens to the treasury as well. And then a couple of other things. I don't really know the details. And then legally they were advised to hold the rest of the tokens for legal purposes. So the DAO does have a certain amount of tokens, but like Unlock Labs still holds the vast majority, which is why they want to create the foundation. So then the foundation could then, sorry?
It's the opposite. It's the opposite, Lana. So actually the DAO treasury holds the majority of the tokens and Unlock Labs holds a smaller number. They have 40,000, which is a much smaller number than I think slightly under a million or something like that. I can't remember exactly how many we have in the treasury, but it's quite a bit more than Unlock Labs has. And so, but either way, they have enough that they can, split some of that off to form a foundation if they want to. I mean, they can do whatever they want with the percentage that they held, which was like, I think 4% or something like that. It was not as significant.
Okay, because when you look on CoinGecko or whatever, it says that 95% of the tokens have not been distributed.
Yeah.
So CoinGecko is wrong because it's actually even still looking at the and see, this is why I want this was why also my proposal to be the token listing officer included non-exchanges, because I need to fix those listings. It's pointing to the contract that is the original, like 2018 version. So yeah, that is like, it's old and outdated, and like, yeah, everything's off on all of those, which is so wrong. But, let me see if I can just quickly pull up the numbers, because actually I should be able to get to them pretty easily, because all of the links are in the docs. Current.
While Angela's doing that, hey Danny, how would you change the current sentence or statement? Sell things creators are important to lead.
I'm sorry, come again. How would I change what?
Oh, Danny, go first.
Yeah, he was asking how I would change what.
This sentence that he's planning in on his screen, the one that's written in big gray letters.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can't see it,
I see it, a cross-industry and global community of developers, creators, Web3 enthusiasts, and unlocked stakeholders. That's right. That's it, right?
Yeah, that's what it currently says. Yeah. How would you change it, if at all?
Okay. As a vision, mission, or description of who we are.
This is a description of who we are. So all of the stuff in orange is kind of converging into this sentence or statement.
Sorry.
I basically would remove the cross-industry and just go with a global community of developers, creators, Web3 enthusiasts, and unlocked stakeholders. I'm not sure what the cross-industry actually adds to the rest of it, but I guess a global community of developers, creators, Web3 enthusiasts, and stakeholders does it for me.
Okay. So I put cross-industry just to provide this idea of like diversity within profession or industry. So it could just be a diverse and global community.
Yeah, that sounds good for me too.
The idea of industry suggests that we do work. So those are my reasons for putting it in there. And it sounds like you're
that we have diverse expertise, essentially. Alex?
Sure.
Yeah, was that the reason? Okay.
You can't use diverse expertise after unlock stakeholders, though.
No, I meant this is why you added cross industry, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. I feel like there needs to be something there.
Yeah, I feel you, but the cross industry didn't work. The diverse didn't work. But I saw something else in here. Forward thinkers. Why can't we say a diverse and global community of developers, creators, Web3 enthusiasts, and unlock stakeholders? And then here. Right. With a shared interest in decentralized technology. More about what unites us than what and then we can also take
in decentralized memberships, right? Because interesting. I think we should narrow that down, because it's not just decentralized technology. It's basically about the unlock protocol, right? Which is about on-chain memberships and subscriptions, something like that.
Yeah, it's more specific.
Yeah, so
than just decentralized technology.
Wait.
Yeah, just the last bit, the decentralized technology bit should be more in like decentralized, decentralized.
Danny, Angela, I get you guys, but at the same time, so what I sometimes think with as a creator, right? When I, do all of my little experiments with Unlock, I feel it's almost like a little bit limiting because you can do almost everything with this. I want to call it a suit, right? It's not just like you cannot just do memberships, you cannot just do events, you cannot just do certifications. You can actually take this, combine it with something else, and do something very different. So I think you're right, and we need to specify, but I don't think we should try and use the same specification that Unlock has on their front website, let's just say. Maybe we can find a better phrase.
So to respond to kind of all of you guys about that, we can change the way that this is structured, right? This is just kind of a fill in the blank thing to help kind of segregate the disparate pieces of what a mission statement should be. So I think that those things should definitely be included, even the specificity. But I think that probably goes more in the value provided or what is done to provide that value portion.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more of a like specific descriptor of all of the people that are within the Unlock community or the DAO specifically. So with that being said, does that change how you guys would talk about or describe this, or is it different? I mean, does it not change it, rather?
Sorry, thinking.
Sorry, I don't know if you guys did thumbs up, thumbs down, or anything. I'm not looking at the Google Meet. Angela, Danny, did that make sense as to what I said?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the record, I'm the one who wrote that part anyway. the shared interest in decentralized.
Do we think that the shared interest in decentralized technology is too generic?
Yeah.
Okay, so what sort of specificity needs to be represented?
Just like
subscriptions and membership.
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't hear between the both of you. They happened at the same time for me. So, Danny, could you go first, and then Angela? Sorry to make you guys repeat yourselves. I don't know if Danny, did you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I was just saying yes to what Angela said.
Okay, cool. So, Angela, what did you say? Because I didn't catch it.
Decentralized memberships and subscriptions.
Could we just use the word access? Decentralized access technology, and that kind of encompasses both of them?
I do like that a lot.
It's not always about access, though, Dale.
So,
well, wait, let me think about that. Is it?
So this should be like as broad as possible.
Right.
Without being generic, I guess. So even if it's not always access.
Yeah, it's not always access. It's because now that I think about it, actually one of the largest use cases is also like, proof of attendance or certification, and that doesn't necessarily denote access. It's more of an artifact,
How about empowering technology?
Empowering decentralized technology.
Yeah.
That's why I go back to memberships and subscriptions, because memberships and subscriptions would encompass access and different types of groupings of people. In other words, like, attended an event.
But that's also...
that would be like a membership of a group of people that attended an event, right?
Yeah, because the memberships and subscriptions, it's actually quite broad. It could be framed in so many different ways. So, yeah, it does imply access, because subscription does imply access. So, I think for me, that's what I would go for.
But if you put access
thinking,
and distribution...
Explain distribution.
Well, that would be potentially like you're talking about the certifications and or...
Wouldn't that go under membership? Like you're a member of a group of certified people?
For example, if you think about the article that I recently wrote, which is about digital asset distribution, that definitely wouldn't go under... it would go under access potentially. You're right.
Yeah, because you have to be a part of that group or whatever to receive the distribution.
Alex, no pressure, but you gotta fix this.
I think that we should move on and revisit it.
Okay.
It could be
actually the other things will help fill in that, because again, remember, this is just like who we are, right? As a group of people. So okay, so the next piece is value provided. So I'm gonna do this. Give some space.
I read a lot of the word support. That's a lot in there.
Some IP stuff, some educational stuff. Evangelization.
Did you already separate somewhere funds, grants, something like this? Otherwise, that would be this, yeah. Oh, that's a double here. This is the same one. Can I delete one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think you guys could probably add to this. So I just started out with we educate, incentivize, evangelize, and support the Unlock community and protocol. I know that that's kind of like a who we do it for type thing, which I don't know if we're going to be able to get out of for this specific section. But how would you guys potentially add or change to this? Or change or add to this, rather?
I think maybe consult should be in there.
Sure, go ahead.
How would consult be different than support?
So support is like very, I feel like support is a very one-on-one thing. Consult would be, you know, for a bigger group of people or for startup project, like kind of on a bigger scale, if that makes sense.
To me, support sounds like it's free. Consult sounds like it's paid.
Fair enough, yes.
I think that both of those things should happen, but go ahead.
It's good.
Could support and what everybody just said be surmised into onboarding?
So we onboard.
I would say no. And here's why, like from a traditional tech sense, like typically support is about issues that come up that are specific, not and onboarding is more about education. So like I would say onboarding goes into educate and support is about problem solving specifically.
Do you think that onboarding is a value provided or is a what's done provide value?
I think onboarding is a value provided, yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
So Angela, to your point of like what support generally means, how would you add the other pieces in that have been talked about, right? Like this idea of consulting or kind of helping out projects, et cetera, versus just kind of providing tech support?
Yeah, I mean, because I see support encompassing what would typically be called solutions engineering, which is really what we're talking about when we're talking about consulting, is like somebody showing you an application of the protocol effectively, like helping with applying the protocol to specific case scenarios. So, I mean, in traditional tech companies, for instance, like, and just because that's the way it is in traditional tech companies doesn't mean that's the way it has to be here too, BT dubs. But like support can be free and it can be paid. And paid support is typically at those higher levels where you're talking about doing things like solutions engineering. It's not always necessarily paid if for instance, the customer is big enough type of thing. So like, and that's just, again, my perspective, you know, having done solutions engineering myself, like it's not always like necessarily paid, but yeah.
Yes, I will in a second, Stella. Angela, you had said something that is maybe interesting in here. How do you take what you've said and go back to this idea of use cases and add that in there? I can't think of a way to suggest we provide examples of how to utilize the protocol and tools. Because it sounds like that's maybe...
Guidance? I guess that's the word I would use when we were talking about that specifically, guidance. But that also goes under education, I guess, in a lot of ways. I mean,
I feel like guidance is definitely a good word that means both support and consult, actually.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Evangelize is not used super often outside. Well, it's sort of being co-opted again. But it was originally used in the context of like religions, and evangelizing would be when you would go and talk about that stuff to other people and get people to know about it and be interested in it, right? So tech evangelists basically kind of sell or talk about or whatever a different tool, say why you should be involved, how you should join, etc. I didn't realize it was a jargon word, so I appreciate that actually.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's a jargon word.
So
maybe like promote or advocate or something.
Advocate. I love advocate.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like advocate too.
Sounds very professional.
Advocate and guide, I think.
What if we switched it around and said we guide the Unlock community through onboarding? I think onboarding education is sort of the same, but you could argue either way.
I would say take that sentence down to be revisited later, because it might be how we incorporate the next part into a very smaller, more concise sentence. If that makes sense. Because by framing it in that way, you're combining both value provided and what is done to provide value, which is definitely the goal. I just don't want to lose out on any other sort of intricacies that might be unlocked if we do them separately. That's all. So I definitely say, like, I would say definitely take it down. So Dale, if you want to just like write another version.
Sure, I'm writing it out on my end and then I'll just post it in there.
Okay. I gave you another one to work on.
But this is exactly it. Even though this group is pretty much aligned on a lot of things, the devil is in the details, isn't it? It's always like that. It's good we're doing this. Comes at the right time.
So Stella, you and I have a little bit of disparity in hours.
Oh yeah, let me check. We onboard, educate, incentivize, and advocate, and provide guidance to for the unlock. Yeah, I can just. Here you go.
Well, I'm not saying that yours is wrong or right, or mine's wrong or right.
No, I think yours has 2 for the unlock community. It's basically the same, like in my opinion.
Okay. Should it be 2 or 4, and then after that we can move on to the next section? I think.
Maybe we can just do this here. Because it's different things, right? You onboard 2, you educate 4, you incentivize 4, you advocate 4. So I don't know, maybe 4 wins?
I mean, it is definitely improper language because the descriptors and action items are not the same.
We could actually split those out entirely, though, using an and. So we could say something like, we onboard, educate, incentivize, and provide guidance for the Unlock community, and advocate. And then I would say we're missing something, which is maintain.
Would you like to structure?
That's one thing we don't have anywhere on this now that I'm thinking about it, is maintenance protocol itself.
Angela, would you mind taking that middle one and kind of write what you just said?
Yeah, I can do that.
And while you're doing that, I will ask the rest of the folks. This idea of maintaining the protocol has come up a couple times, and as well in the survey. Labs is supposed to be the one that's maintaining it, but then does it move to where they're not maintaining it and the DAO is? That also goes into the relationship between the DAO and Labs, and then now Foundation. Go ahead, Stella.
Okay. So I think I've heard also Julian say this. So I think the long-term goal, even for Labs, is to essentially give all or hand over control to the DAO, right? That's the long-term goal, anyways. So I think
imagine Unlock Labs doesn't exist in the future. That's pretty much.
I think so too, exactly. And I think we are not right now in a position where we can maintain the protocol by ourselves, but I think that should be definitely the goal because, well, should belong to the people.
Yeah, think of them as a working group.
They should be thought of like members of the DAO.
Exactly.
Actually, funny enough, Lana, actually in my diagram, it's exactly like that.
So thinking about that, is that more of a future forward vision portion, or is that a mission of how we operate and what we're doing?
Mission.
I would say mission, because I also like the idea is we might not be doing it yet, but we should. Like we should actually have more developers and people like doing protocol development stuff and building stuff out and supporting as well. We haven't, but we definitely should.
Perfect.
Cough, cough, Danny.
What?
I was just saying we should start doing more developer like based stuff for the protocol, and then I was jokingly calling you.
Yeah.
But you're already doing it. But it would be because like even just imagine, Stella, I keep whatever the Patreon example, but like let's say that you were like, I would like to do this. It would be also cool to have a developer working group who could then help you build out those components that really know Unlock protocol and how to leverage it to the best of its abilities. Like if we're going to have any consulting, developer consulting would be the most profitable more than any other consulting.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in the early days of Gitcoin, we actually had something like that called the Moonshot Collective, which was actually a developer working group in the DAO. The DAO would come up with all kinds of tools and whatnot they would want to build, and we would just go about building all of those things for the DAO, and it would serve like as a prototype for other communities to use, and it could also be like a way to test out some ideas and stuff. So it was just, it's actually a really valid thought, and if we want to do that, it would be great.
Danny, you should say more. What the hell? Danny and I had a call, and we already talked about him becoming the liaison engineer as a first step, but eventually moving to head engineer with like some support from Wonder Woman Code. And then we could have our own engineering department. Yay!
Working group. Everything. I think everything should be referred to as like a working group or stream.
Yes, working group.
I'm gonna start trying to inject pods, but that's later.
I'm with
pods.
The pod. I'm with
That's
the pod. I'm down.
Yeah,
pod.
I'm down.
Pod to me equals working group. But yeah, because I think it's just more to we need to start thinking, collaboratively, but also most of us on this call are actually non-technical or more lean towards the creator side. And so we just want to make sure with anything we're building out that we're not like building to our preferential bias and that we're actually like building out what makes sense for the protocol.
We will definitely talk about this later, but I think the idea of doing both is important. So there's like the developer working group, and then there's like the pod of people building X thing. But that's something else. But I like that we're all agreeing on these sort of things. Awesome. So I think that we have that portion in a pretty good place. Again, we're gonna have to revisit these to be able to like smash them all together. So I think we're able to move on. So what is done to provide that value?
Timer.
We're already at,
Oh, because it's your call now. We didn't go to mine. Right. Damn.
yeah, but we really are almost at the
2
hour.
hours.
Okay.
Let's get it going.
This is a lot harder to do with friends than in a corporate setting where I get to be mean. Okay, so what does done provide that value? I feel like we can just kind of group these pretty quickly. So let's just say like 2 minutes to group. No, let's say 1 minute to group. Okay, so this time instead of writing a sentence, I've just put out the main things that I'm seeing. I would like to hear what you guys think. But I see a lot of education, a lot of talk about the grants, a lot of talk about events, both like IRL events or other things, but also community-oriented events. This idea of like building products or experiments, and then community control things. So that's like creating leadership, proposals, doing voting, etc. Maybe that's just governance as a word, but
Control sounds like Federal Bureau of Control from the game. It's not so healthy, maybe in a decentralized setting.
Sure.
I love that game. That's my pandemic game right there. That's so good.
So does somebody else want to take a stab at writing a sentence instead of me doing that?
I've actually got to run to another meeting.
Sure.
But good call, everyone. I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah, this will be available. I'll send it out to everyone. Yeah. So let's see. Stella, do you want to go ahead and write a sentence for this?
To make everyone angry again and then start a discussion? Sure.
Let the rioting begin.
So what I see because there is some loose stuff in there, right? That didn't like really fit, because protocol updates is right now it's a labs thing, but it probably also eventually belongs to this segment up here. So what is done to provide that value?
The other thing that is encompassed in that I'm actually just realize we're sort of missing entirely is safety. Like the part of the benefit of decentralized technology and open source software in general is the fact that the when you have like more eyes on a code base, it ends up being more secure. And that is actually a really important. I think it's really important because I think do not underestimate the number of actual security professionals that we have in our DAO membership. There are quite a few actually, and who are not only very interested in the safety of the protocol itself, but also providing the value of safety in software through decentralization. And I guess that's not represented here. I just realized.
I think that would be a great thing to be represented either in value provided or what those we serve achieve. So that might look like it's what those we serve achieve. Are able to operate in a secure protocol environment.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's a something that is a product of.
I would even throw protection in there, not just from the angle of software side, but also for creators. It's a way to protect, and I kind of hinted at that otherwise too.
Right.
So what that looks like here is maybe I guess we don't really employ anybody though. So maybe it's more like decentralized development.
Voting, leadership, etc. I guess you could call that
Governance, right?
Yeah, governance would be like a word that just sort of like collective governance, name of product building.
This is still wrong. What is done to provide that value?
Say that again. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It's still wacky. Is wacky a word? Or is it wonky?
Both.
Oh.
It could be either
wacky and wonky.
I'm just realizing, I think, I don't know, Blakehard, are you a native English speaker?
Well, I would like to think I am.
He is. For all the subtleties and difference.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who isn't.
Well, I wouldn't have guessed.
It shows in details, like with the evangelize. I was like, what really is I had an idea, but I didn't know. But then again, right? Maybe I'm not the only one. So, because Lana also said it's jargon, so maybe we need to, I don't know. And also Dale, cute Japanese emoji.
I did. I think you can think of evangelize like an ambassador, right? That's the way I'll think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's pretty much what I was doing over the weekend. Evangelizing, literally with a microphone in hand.
Yeah, you really did. You should add your image and the video you took. I didn't want to, add it for you. You should really add it to the community hub on Charmverse when you get it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, sure. Definitely do that. Just writing a blog post that I will be putting up on maybe Mirror, a paragraph, and then I'll pretty much gather the images and put it up on the community.
Yeah, nice.
So how is that looking? So we basically do this value, and the way we do that is by providing education grants, events, and collective governance. I don't like this at all.
It's weird,
but it's there. As well as enabling product building and experimentation on top of the online protocol. Does that encompass everything that we've want to, I guess?
I think so.
Awesome. How much time do we have?
Can't we really say all of this just by saying, by providing collective governance and operational support?
Nah.
Like, because we already have educate right over in the values.
Right.
Oh, grants, I guess, isn't, but events is just like part of operate. Like, do we want to get specific about the details? Is what I'm saying, or
I think that we should be specific, so that way we can check. So, like, our mission is this: we want to do X. Is X either providing this value, or is X doing this thing that we provide?
Okay, yeah, I get you.
So I do see that education is in both. So definitely that is a thing that can maybe be changed, right? Grants and events would probably be incentivized. Collective governance is advocacy and maintaining protocol. I think product building and experimentation is also providing guidance.
I mean, also, it's like if this would be just something for, between the 5-6 of us, right? Or 7, it's fine to be abstract, but for other people to understand this from the outside, probably a little bit of detailing will be healthy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a real issue with time here. I don't know what everyone else's day looks like. I know we're not complete with this mission thing. So I'd like to know where you guys are and how you're feeling about where we are currently.
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I'm happy to stick around a little bit longer. I just need to take you on my mobile. So I will let it run here and hope I can just enter with my mobile as well at the same time. So I can keep recording on here.
I'm almost thinking like it actually might be better to right now schedule another time. Yeah. And then that way everybody has an opportunity to let this marinate. Because I feel like if I step away for a few minutes and think about it and like go pull some weeds or something, then like then I might actually come up with something better.
I agree. I would say let's do some homework stuff, right? So in your free time, when you can, if you would like to, kind of group and categorize the who we serve and group and categorize what those we sort of achieve. And if you want to take a stab on writing a couple of different sentences below, feel free. And then that way we have some more progress to get into when we revisit this.
Can you just write the homework? Can you write the homework on a sticky?